Yo, yo, yo. What it be, people?
What's
We're live. We're live. This episode brought to you by Butterbeer. It gives you great butter burps and butter farts. So welcome again.
Great.
It is great. You might hear a lot of lowing coming from my seat this episode. Don't adjust your sets. So welcome again to Kiss Meets Podcast 4K, the Crazy Crazy Kiss Countdown. I'm one of your hosts, Eli Clausen.
And I am Luke Neely, I guess.
And I think this is the first time I've introduced myself since we went to the Crazy Kiss Countdown.
I think it's the first time we've introduced ourselves in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Savannah's back, yay.
Yay! I'm in bed, but yay!
She transformed herself into a man last week and joined us for that show.
Yes.
Once again, we do want to say thanks again to Chris from Kiss and Tail. Please, again, make sure to go check out their channel. Newest episode just recently dropped, and again, you may be seeing us on there fairly soon, so stay tuned. But definitely go check out their channel. It was a great time having Chris on. He's definitely welcome back. Hopefully he'll be back on sometime in the near future. We may or may not have an appearance from Javier today. Let's see what happens. So
Nice.
He said he was going to rush home, so hopefully he didn't get in an accident just trying to rush home for us.
Yeah.
So I hope everyone's doing well. And of course, this week is week 3 already. So Dress to Kill. So wow, already into the last of the what I like to call the original Raw Kiss albums. Because after this with the live and from then on there, things change obviously. So definitely enjoying this album as always. Never gets old to listen to. Again, to sound like a broken record, it's another one of those albums that I truly love all the way through. It's hard to rank it, but again, have to put, hey, speaking of Kiss and Tail, there they are. What's up, man?
Hey.
But again, got to put numbers on them, unfortunately, on these songs. And, I think I'm pretty positive as far as my end. I feel like I ranked this one a little different this time around from what I did last time, I think.
Nice.
We'll see.
Yes.
Nothing really going on newsworthy in the Kiss world anymore. Not right now. So I guess we'll just get on into our usual stuff, the polls and everything else.
All right. Hey, so let's take a peek at some comments real quick. We got quite a few comments on the last episode, Hotter Than Hell. So thanks for all the feedback, guys, of course. We like seeing all that stuff. Our first comment from Anthem Incorporated, a familiar-looking comment. The guy in the middle looks like he could be Bruce Kulick's brother with short hair.
Well, thank you. I'm flattered by that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wait, you wasn't talking about me?
No, actually, that was only about half the comment. The second half is, and I'm not kidding. Go read the comment if you think I'm kidding. The second half is, and the two guys on the outside look like they could be Bruce Kulick's right and left nut.
Wow.
I love it. Thank you.
Oh man.
All right.
That is truly a compliment. Oh
That's
my
true.
God.
That is good.
It's funny because I was a little salty and sweaty too last week.
I'm kind of glad I
Yes.
missed last week now.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Oh,
and I started turning blue, so I guess I was a blue ball.
woo.
True. That is awesome, man.
That
is good.
I hope, I guess I'll be left nut. So Chris, right nut there. Hopefully you're still watching and heard that. So
Oh, yes. Anthem Incorporated, you are not the first person to have said something like that. That is hilarious. We were, a couple of years ago, we were at the Indianapolis Kiss Expo. This was, I don't remember which year it was, but it was the year that Mark Middlecoff and Mark Nysonger came, Gino and Paulie came, and they were in line to get somebody's autograph. I don't remember. It might have been Ace's.
I think it was.
Yeah.
And Bruce was at the expo that year as well. You and I walked past them on our way out, I think, past the line. And Gino, like the dick he is, points at me and goes, "Look, everyone, it's Bruce Kulick." And the line, all conversations in the entire line stopped, and everybody stares at me. Oh,
that was so great.
Yeah, that was horrible.
I mean, you could have just like curled up into a ball on the floor.
Yeah. My God, yeah. If I could have disappeared in that moment, I would have.
Yep.
That was.
I kind of feel like Voltron now. Like, you know, we form ourselves into a huge penis when we do the show.
Yeah.
So we have accomplished something.
Yes. Yes, that's for sure.
Maybe instead of True Confessions, we need to change it to Shooting the Load or something.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We got a much less funny comment from Steve McGowan. Still a good comment. It's he didn't make any references to penises though, so it's a little disappointing.
That's shocking.
Yeah, you're right. Steve says, "I always thought that Strange Ways was Ace's second best guitar solo. Shocked me being the best. The reason I ranked it in the top 3 from this album." That's a good point.
Yeah.
Shock Me is a really good solo.
It is. It definitely is. Probably, I would say, everyone's go-to Ace solo, but yeah, Strange Ways is definitely right up there.
Yeah. Yes. We also got 2 comments from Robbie Stars. We got his rankings for Hotter Than Hell. Did put those in. Didn't change our top 4. What's that?
Here we are. It's only 5:30, and Steve just now sends his picks in. Way to be on time, Steve.
Thanks, man. I'll have to get those put in. All right, sweet. There we are. I had the wrong tab open there for a second. So we did get Robbie's Hotter Than Hell votes put in. Didn't change our top 4. However, it did raise the overall average ranking to 7.5. Robbie says his true confession is Paul's voice on Hotter Than Hell sounds low and tired because Wise and Kerner turned the song down a whole step to give it that strange vibe. Plus, they were already tuned down a half step, more like a Black Sabbath tuning.
And that is not true, you say?
I need to go through and listen to it, but to me, I don't hear it being tuned lower than the normal Kiss song. And it doesn't sound like a slowed down tape either. It just sounds like Paul sang it a little weird.
And just so you guys know, Luke does have a lot of experience in what he's talking about with this stuff. So we're not just, I think it's this. You know, it's pretty much an educated opinion. So.
Right. I'm not going to sit here and swear to you that it's definitely that. But, I mean, at least to me, I really think he just sang it weird.
Yeah.
Robbie also says, the last remasters done to this album did wonders to these songs. My third favorite 70s Kiss album. The guitar tones are from the Flames of Hell, so heavy and raw. I picked Watchin' You #1 because it's a killer, timeless song and really heavy. I love the beginning with the guitars coming in from one speaker to another speaker, the Led Zeppelin effect, just awesome. I will give this an 8. Not too big on Coming Home and the snare on a few tunes. Eli cracks me up with listening to Hotter Than Hell with your parents at home. I used to turn my record player down when it got to the chorus part. I loved your guest input. Excellent episode. Thank
you, man.
Absolutely.
You know, as far as that remaster CD of Hotter Than Hell, I kind of have to disagree, man, because as far as my brain remembers it, I don't remember it really sounding any different at all. It's just I feel like all they did was maybe make it a little louder, and that's about it. But as far as the remaster, it's like I don't recall it sounding any different than what it does when I put on the record, to be honest. But I could be wrong. Because even like the version I have on the computer is those the remasters they did, especially for iTunes or whatever those were. And, you know, again, I don't feel like it really sounds much improved or different to me. That
Right.
just my ears.
I need to hear the most recent ones. I don't think I have. The version that I listened to was from the remasters set,
Mm-hmm.
which was several years ago. I'd be curious to hear that. We got a comment from Kiss and Tail, our good buddy Chris, who was on that episode, who says, "Had a blast, guys. Rock."
Amen. Can't wait
Had a
to
blast, guys, rock.
can't wait to come on your show and
Yes.
talk some Kiss, man. It's gonna be a blast.
Absolutely. Yes. Ready. We also got Steve chimed in on Kiss and Tail's comment there, saying that he went and liked their Facebook page, and there was some good stuff on there. So that's awesome to see our fans going and support their channel.
The penis will be complete again once we go on their show.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Oh, geez. Okay. I just realized there's another set of votes on here that I didn't get as well. We've also got a comment from Thomas, our good buddy Rain in Adamstown.
There's Javier. What's up, brother?
Hey guys.
Hop on in on the video if you want, man.
Yes.
I can send you that link if you don't have it still. It should be the same one.
Let's go ahead and do this real quick. We can just go ahead and get this done right while we're standing here. Or sitting here, or whatever you happen to be doing.
Farting.
Yes. So Thomas gives Hotter Than Hell a 9. Let's see, we got, in order from worst to best, we got Mainline.
Kiss and Tail says Dark Light from the Elder is another great Ace solo. His opinion, a top 5. Yeah. Totally agree with that as well, man. Love that song.
Yes.
I like
Ace
the
doing some fast picking, which he didn't do too much.
Yes. I even like the demo version, the Don't Run. It's kind of like a bonus song, you know, different words and everything, but
definitely. There we go. Okay. We ended up with a tie after I put Robbie Starr's votes in, so maybe this will break that up again.
Yeah, let's hope. Boy, looking at Steve and Rochelle's picks for this album. Rochelle, like, come on.
Didn't Steve say something last week about how he didn't endorse her votes?
Exactly. I don't exactly endorse Steve's overall vote this time, but his rankings of the songs aren't too hateful.
Okay, still at 7.5 overall. Let's see. Our number 1, Still Watching You. Number 2, Still Parasite. 3, Still Hotter Than Hell. And 4, Still Strange Ways. So we're still good on our top 4. 5, Got to Choose. Which looks... Oh, nope. That was my bad. 5, Let Me Go Rock and Roll. 6, Got to Choose. Very close. Almost a tie there. Nope, I screwed it up again. 5, Going Blind. My brain isn't quite working right. 7. Okay, there.
Ain't I the one that's pregnant?
You wouldn't know it.
The pregnancy brain is contagious, trust me.
Yeah, it definitely is. Okay, got those in. Top 4 stayed the same. got a 7.5 overall average out of 10. Thomas says, love the album and give it a 9. Reason it's not a 10 is that the debut and Dress to Kill are a tiny little bit better. My true confession is this was an underground heavy metal album at a time when there was no heavy metal.
Yeah, that is true. Like we were saying, this has got to be one of the early, what you could consider metal albums of the day. Hey, here comes Javier. Let me add him in here. Javier.
What's up?
What is up,
How's it
brother?
going?
Let me take. There you go. Yeah.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Oh, doing great, man. How you been?
Not bad.
Glad you were able to finally jump on, man. This is gonna be a fun episode.
Yeah, I had some plans for after work, but that kind of fell through. So here I am.
There you go.
I had to do a quick scribble down of the songs or whatnot, so I won't be able to put too much input into it. But I think I got enough there to be able to.
It's pretty much all
voice
from
my
memory,
opinion
anyway.
on them.
Awesome.
We all know these albums like the back of our hand, so.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I guess you could be right nut this week, and I'll still be left nut.
Does that make me the butt?
I can get behind that.
The front butt.
Oh.
Hey, now this is a family show.
Yeah. All right, just getting Steve and Rochelle's votes put in for everything. What I miss. There we go. Okay. Okay, so polls. We're to the polls. Well, I got to readjust my camera now too. My head's cut off. There we go. So last week's polls, we had Charisma versus Snowblind. Charisma takes it with 64%.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yay.
Definitely. I was a little curious on that one. I thought that could go either way. Unlike that one, we had Shout It Out Loud versus Turn On the Night.
Oh, Lord.
I'm so disappointed by that.
I know, yeah. Shout It Out Loud wins with 80%, so no
That's
contest.
good. I'm not a fan of Turn On the Night.
Not a bad song, but I mean, obviously not nowhere near as classic as Shout It Out Loud. But.
Definitely. In the same vein, actually, we had Crazy Crazy Nights versus Watching You. Watching You takes that with 64%. So again, I mean, expected, but that's pretty close for an 80s no makeup song versus a classic.
Yeah, exactly. I'm also not a fan of that song.
Not a fan of that album in general?
I actually like the other songs on that album. Just those two, though the singles are the ones that I really not too keen on.
Okay, yeah. That's another one that unfortunately tends to suffer from, overall mastering and kind of the weak, but I'm sure we'll get into that plenty.
Right. I was always a bit surprised Turn On the Night was one of those singles. I mean, it's definitely catchy, but not one of the ones I would have picked if it were me.
Mm-hmm.
We also had Tomorrow versus Deuce. And even though I think most Kiss fans will agree Tomorrow is a great song, it's no surprise here Deuce wins with 75% of that vote.
I definitely thought that was going to be a bigger blowout too, but hey.
Mm-hmm. Deuce has been getting it a little easy, because wasn't it up against something stupid in round one?
I think so. It was probably up against like Fanfare or something.
Right. Speaking of having it easy, we had Kissin' Time versus I Love It Loud. These were randomly generated. I swear to God, these were randomly generated. I Love It Loud wins, of course, with 82% of the vote, which, again, I will admit, I expected that to be a lot bigger.
what she said. Ah.
I was biting my tongue, and you just had to go there.
Yes. And finally, from last week, another pretty obvious one, Rock and Roll All Night versus I'm Alive. Rock and Roll All Night takes that with 72%. So
Again, not as big. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd expect it to both of those last ones to have been absolute blowouts. But so that's last week. As per usual, you can head over to our Facebook page right now / after the episode and vote on the 6 that are posted right now. Get your votes in there. We really want to hear from everybody. What's your favorite song and why? If you like the Odd Man Out, especially tell us why. I love seeing people getting on there and talking about. We had some people in round 1 actually trashing Deuce a little bit, and as much as we don't necessarily want to see trashing, it's interesting to see. I don't like one of the popular songs, and here's why.
Yeah, it is a such a thing to give an opinion and not be nasty about it.
Right.
There was people bashing Black Diamond too, wasn't it?
Yeah. This is surprising. The 6 we got for this week: Psycho Circus versus Odyssey. 1,000,000 to 1 versus Fits Like a Glove. Getaway versus Saint and Sinner. Oh, the big kick in the balls: Forever versus Heaven's on Fire.
Yeah, I went with Forever on that one.
Same.
I went the other way.
Well,
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm not really Heaven's on Fire either.
I think
singles in the 80s just were the non-makeup era, just really didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
I think with Forever it came down to that solo. That's one of the greatest, to me, one of the greatest Kiss solos period of any of the guitar players.
Yep. As opposed to Heaven's on Fire, which is, what Mark St. John did fits Heaven's on Fire, but it's nothing,
Yeah. It's essentially just another anthem, sing along.
Right. We also had Hell or Hallelujah versus Baby Driver. And
that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. One of the hits from the modern era versus kind of an underrated tune from the classic era. So will the fact that Hell or Hallelujah was kind of popular actually push it up far enough? I don't know. And then the final one was Let Me Know versus I Stole Your Love.
We just lost Savannah. She'll be back. She always comes back. I Stole Your Love and what? I'm sorry?
Let Me Know.
Ooh, yeah.
All right. Well, while we... Oh, there she is.
Hello.
Hello, Governor.
All right. Ready for some album info? We can get in?
Real quick, Kiss and Tell says, let's go Odyssey.
Ooh, yes.
That would be interesting if it wins that one, but I personally don't see it, man.
Right. Absolutely. Here we go. Stupid internet. Get it together. Get it together. Okay. All right. Ready for the album info?
Yeah.
Right on. All right. So, of course, Dress to Kill is the 3rd studio album by Kiss. This album was released March 18th, 1975, if you read the main article of Wikipedia. But if you look over at the thing under the album cover, it says March 19th, 1975. So, depending on what time zone you're in, apparently, it was released some point in March 1975.
It was a leap year.
Yeah. This album was recorded at Electric Lady Studios in New York City and produced by Neil Bogart. Also, interestingly, Kiss was listed as co-producers, although what did they really do at this point? You know what I mean? A couple of singles here. We had Rock and Roll All Night and Come On and Love Me. Looks like neither of those charted really. The album itself charted, got up to number 32 on the U.S. Billboard chart. This album has been certified gold. It's got to have more than that, but you know how it goes.
It's gold.
Yes.
I love gold.
We got, as far as personnel, some interesting information here. Paul Stanley, of course, who did vocals and rhythm guitar, and also is listed as having done the intro guitar solo on Come On and Love Me. We've got Ace Frehley, who did lead guitar, acoustic guitar, and then also all guitars, bass, and backing vocals on Getaway and Rock Bottom.
Wow.
That's I made a comment in my notes on Rock Bottom about Gene playing it really good. Now I feel like an idiot.
You know, I was gonna say, like, talk about nailing Gene's style. You know, Ace knocked it out of the park then.
Yeah.
Because even like the little slide and everything, like Gene would do. And...
Right. It also says Gene Simmons vocals, bass guitar, and rhythm guitar on Ladies in Waiting. And then Peter Criss, drums, percussion, and vocals. As we know, this has a similar story to Hotter Than Hell as far as the album sales for both the first album and Hotter Than Hell not going very well. So the record company's genius idea to keep those two albums in record stores was we need to get them back in the studio, record another album, put it out so that the record stores will keep the first two albums as a backlog. And so Kiss was pulled from the Hotter Than Hell tour to get right back into the studio to do this album.
And as the story goes, it was like they were basically in danger of being kicked off the label. You know, and they were pressuring them for that, you know, that hit and that anthem. And yeah, I mean, it didn't exactly hit the nail on the head right off the bat, but we all know what happened once Alive came out with that song. So it took a little longer than they were hoping, but thankfully it did happen. So
right.
That it?
Yep.
All right. Why don't we just go in order? So why don't you go first, Luke? We'll just go like in order of how we're pictured. You, me, Javier, Savannah.
Works for me.
All right. So we open up the album with Room Service, which is my number 4. And it just strikes me immediately. Man, this album's production is so good. It's so clear. Everything is just right where it ought to be. I think, just personally, maybe this is the best Peter's drums ever sounded on a studio album.
Yeah.
I think this song, it's just a great album opener from an energy standpoint. It's upbeat, energetic, plus it's just classic Kiss. Right as the song was fading out, I noticed something this time that I've never noticed before, too. 3-part guitar harmony on the riff for the last 2 choruses.
Wow.
Really cool. Not sure how I missed that before, but I was really enjoying that.
Nice. Room Service is number 8 for me this time. I do agree. It's a great album opener. Good upbeat, straight rocker, Paul song. Totally agree about Peter's drum sound. They just sound so crisp and clear on here. Like, and again, like I say it a lot, like how it sounds like it could stand up to things that are around today. I mean, to me, the sound of the drums, especially, it doesn't sound like something from 1975. You listen to other songs and stuff that are from that era, and the drums have that kind of vintage sound to them, but to me, these sound just so crisp and cut through so well. The toms sound amazing every time he hits them. It's just that, classic like Peter tom sound. But yeah, I mean, what better way to start the album than a nice little ode to all the groupies? So great one.
This is my number 5. I agree. Great upbeat song. Love the solo in it. Peter's killing it on the drums. just sounds fantastic. And, you know, it's classic Kiss song about sex, you know? I mean, this is like the beginning of all of that, you know? I mean, there was a couple of songs here and there, but this is really, really the beginning, I feel, of just what the band is about, you know? And it's sex and rock and roll with them, and that's what it is, you know? And I love a song that tells a story. You know, going from the different scenarios in the song about what's going on. I love that. And you don't get too much of that anymore these days.
No, not at all. Music just does not have the same meaning. A lot of the music out there, I should say. I mean, thankfully there is still some quality stuff, but it doesn't get the attention. That's the problem.
Yeah, Room Service is number 4 for me as well. And I said the same thing. I love that this track opens the album. It's so upbeat. It's fun to listen to. It just helps set the tone for what to expect from the rest of the songs, I think. And then, I mean, I love what the way that the rhythm guitars are doing behind the solo. The solo is great in itself, but I mean, there's just such a great groove to the rhythms and the bass behind it that it's like I focused more on that than I did the solo. I like that a lot more almost.
Real quick, Kiss and Tell says Hotter Than Hell was a record company's attempt to make a Kiss sound like Sabbath, and Dress to Kill was the record company wanted every song to potentially be a radio hit.
Yeah, you could tell because, I mean, Neil Bogart was the president of the record company. When you got the president of the record company producing your album.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is probably... I would say this is the shortest Kiss album out there, I believe, and
I would agree with that.
It's kind of no wonder, you know, they radio hits back in them days usually weren't barely 3 minutes, if that.
Right. So leading into track 2, which is Two Timer. I wonder if they did that on purpose. Track 2 is Two Timer. I don't know. This is my number 6, and I gotta say, Room Service and Two Timer, I think, are one of the most quintessential Gene Paul sister song pair. And especially to have them on the album and right next to each other like that was just crazy. Whoever thought of that was a genius. The chorus of this song is super catchy, and I've always loved it. But as becomes kind of a trend throughout this album, I do wish there was a little bit more to the song.
Yeah. Totally. Two Timer is number 4 for me. 100% agree. I'm not sure what it is, but I've always considered this a Room Service kind of as, like you said, the sister songs, just like other, you know, Kiss couple songs, I guess. I don't know. I guess in a way I've always kind of pictured it as, you know, because Room Service is about that groupie and, you know, it's Paul and then Gene singing this one about Two Timer, so it almost makes me think like Gene's girlfriend was the groupie in Paul's song, and she two-timed him. So that's just kind of the little picture I always painted when every time I hear these. But yeah, so it's got such a great groove to it. You know, Gene's you know, kind of a mid partial kind of a growl. In a way, like the way he's doing the vocals on this, which was a little bit different compared to what he did on the first 2 albums. But it's one of them I wish they would have played live, and you know, I agree too that there should have been more to it, and I would have liked to have seen, you know, if they would have added like a different section like they've done with so many songs had they had played this live for real.
I'm following in your footsteps. I wish there was another verse to it.
Yeah.
Too short. I love how Gene enunciates time and divine.
Yes.
Those words, I love how he does that. Just the tone of his voice. And it really doesn't sound like her two-timing on him really bothers him at all, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, she two-timed me, you know, but What can I do? Let's see. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Um,
By the way, what did you rank this one?
Oh, this is my number 8.
Okay, so we've swapped.
Yeah, and wishing that other verse was in there to explain a little bit more on how she actually two-timed him.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
Yep.
is it because she likes somebody's other car? You know, I mean, what's up with that? You know,
Right.
but
Yeah,
you know, I think it's it sounds like it was kind of thrown together too. It's something that was written really quick, like you said. You know, they're under time pressure to be able to get this album out, and it sounds like it was just a song that was thrown together, and you know, just to put something on the record.
Yeah, and you know, as far as I know, I've never heard demos for this song or let alone room service. So, you know, you probably are right. They just probably wrote them in the studio on the spot, pretty much, and yeah, worked it in.
Mm.
Two-timer is number 8 for me as well. And I think the only reason why it got kind of low on my list is because, as far as singing goes, it wasn't one of my favorites. But I mean, the music is great in this song. It has that, that real rich, bass tone and that nice solid drumming, and then I mean, just great guitar work throughout this whole song. But I don't know. I don't know if it was just this time around listening to it, or if it, it's kind of always just kind of hit me as weird, like the way that Gene sings. I don't feel like it's typical Gene. You know what I mean? It doesn't really have his growl, but it also doesn't have his clean. It's kind of like an in between thing, and that kind of threw me this time, I think. But I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just kind of different, and it kind of, the music is what was better about it for me this time versus the, listening to the vocals. I kind of just tuned that out this time.
And some of the lines, you know, like "just call me a 3-time loser," like that was just such a different, you
Yeah.
know, thing to
Right.
hear, you know, and it's still such a cool like phrase every time I hear that. It's
Yeah.
never really understood exactly what that means either, but it sounds cool.
Right. Yeah.
All right, moving into track 3, Ladies in Waiting. This is my number 7. And you know, as simple as it is, this is a standout A solo to me as well. It's just absolutely exactly what the song needed. And it's really epic, too, as weird as that sounds. Maybe the least Ace ever played in a solo for it to still be that good and work that well. And this is another one that I feel like it could have used a little bit more song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here we are, like the old days. This is also my number 7. So kind of what Javier was saying earlier about two-timer, maybe this is Gene's reason why he didn't care so much, because here we go, the next song, he's got Ladies in Waiting. You know, there's plenty of fish out there to take her place. That, you know, the one that won the two-timing, he's got a line of them at the door and, you know, at his hotel room, you know, and we've all heard those stories. So
Yeah.
I love the fact that they did play this during the Alive tour. Unfortunately, you know, they didn't seem to keep it too long because, you know, I think there's only like one known video performance of it. But and it's another one that I wish would have made it to Alive, and I wish they would have played it a lot longer and even brought it back in recent years. Would love to hear, but just you know, that little harmony, you know, chorus thing, the Ladies in Waiting. I think to me it sounds like a 4-part harmony, I believe. But yeah, so just another great Gene song, man.
This is my number 9. Another great song about groupies. I think it's awesome to hear that, you know, they're actually writing songs about groupies, you know, and being able to express, you know, the rewards of being in a rock band, you know, and, you know, hey, I'll take this one, you take that one. I'm all good with that, you know. I love the outro, the guitar work that Ace is doing on that just is phenomenal. I love that run that he's doing. Just sounds great. Um, it's a little repetitive though, on just just add a couple of more lines to it. It's just the repetitiveness just kind of is the only downer to me on about the song.
Right.
But other than that, I think it's a great song. I mean, this is my favorite album, so there really isn't anything on here that I dislike. It's just that, if they would have just taken a little bit more time, throw a couple more lines in some songs, you know, it would have been a little bit better. But this is by far my favorite album.
Nice.
This was number 6 for me. I definitely like to sing along to the chorus of the song, even though it basically is just the same line over and over again. But I like to sing along with it. And then the solo that happens right after the first chorus is over. I just love that solo. It's so good. I felt like it was layered and it was layered well. And I mean, it just had a good length to it. It just really helps you understand more, why people love Ace so much and why they love his solos and his guitar work so much, because it was just so when you have solos like that just can stand out and stick out, and they're not real long, and there's not like a whole lot to them, but they just stand out so well. It just makes you understand why so many people love him so much.
Yeah, when there's so many solos that you can just hum because they're that catchy. I mean,
right, yes.
There's only maybe a handful of guitar players I could personally think of that I could do that to. So,
right,
says something.
Yep. All right, moving into the Peter track for this album, Getaway. This is my number 8. And I got to tell you, it did hurt a little bit putting it that low. This is definitely one of those cases of just putting a number on it because you have to for this sort of thing. This is, I feel like, another really underrated Peter song. Beth and Hard Luck Woman do deserve the praise they get, but there's so many other good Peter ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Mainline is still my favorite, but this one carries more than a little Kiss, classic Kiss childhood nostalgia for me. And I'm not mad at all that Room Service opens this album, but honestly, I feel like this one just about could have, and it would have still had that exciting energy to kick it off. I think Room Service still hands down a better song, and they never would have opened an album with a Peter song. But I feel like this one maybe could have.
Yeah, that makes a good point. It's unfortunate that none of his songs never did open an album.
Yeah.
Getaway is number 9 for me this time. It's a great song. Man, it's so driving too. Just that bass line that's going through it. I mean, man, good stuff there. And then we kind of recently, I don't know if I want to say discovered, but we kind of noticed that the end of that song is what they use for the end of Rock and Roll All Night, and especially on a live or the live setting in general, which one of them things that for some reason it never clicked me until we mentioned that recently, because it's like as many times as I've heard this song, it's just like, oh, it's the end of the song, and I never for some reason clicked that, oh, that's the same ending of Rock and Roll All Night. But another thing I don't want to forget to mention is because I had heard some talk about this recently, so the fact that you can hear a lot of acoustic guitar layered underneath all the guitars on this album, because apparently that was a trick back in those days to make things sound a little thicker and whatnot. I forget the particular album that they kind of got the inspiration to do that from when I heard the story recently, but so you could definitely hear a lot of that throughout these songs, underneath and everything. So, but I agree. There's really, let's put it this way. There's no such thing as a bad Peter Criss song, in my opinion. I mean, I have no problem with every song he's done on a Kiss album, and and so on. So, as far as when he's in Kiss, let's put it that way. As far as not a bad Peter Criss song, let me rephrase that.
This is my number 7. I love the lyrics. Another story telling what's going on. It may have been written by Ace, but this is a complete Peter song all the way. If Peter would have wrote this himself, it would have just been a biography in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Love the solo, but it's too short. I would have liked to have heard it go just a little bit longer. And I love to hear Gene in the background.
Mm-hmm.
His voice is really prominent, and it sounds really good. I love how he sounds, and being able to hear him that clearly in the background. Peter, again, is just killing it vocally, but I kind of wish that the way that he sang it towards the end, where he was really getting into it, I kind of wish that he sang the entire song kind of like that, with a lot of power and whatnot. I honestly believe that other than this song, if Ace would have sang the songs that he had written from the beginning, I honestly believe that, we all know how many fans Ace has. I think that if he would have sang his own songs from the beginning, he would have realized how much of an important piece of that band he was, and being able to get the recognition from the fans or whatnot, it may have maybe just curbed his appetite for drugs and the alcohol, and maybe made him realize, how important he was, and maybe possibly get him to be on that equal level with Gene and Paul, where they would have respected him more and not treated him and talked badly about him like they did. And I think that he could have went a lot further than what he did with the band, and had more pull and say if he just would have realized how important he was to that band.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. Gene and Paul had to have seen it themselves to an extent. I mean, especially like, you look at the reunion tour when they, ended up paying Ace more than they were paying Peter, and that had to show something. Plus, I'm not afraid to say, but I think Ace had the most successful solo career out of all of them. So that's got to say something too.
But Getaway is number 9 for me. I love the bass in this song. It's so cool. It's probably my favorite thing about this song, honestly. The solo was fairly good, but yeah, it wasn't long enough. It was really short, and other than those things, nothing really stuck out too much about it to me, which is why it was kind of low on my list this time. I didn't get to rate this when, the last time that everything was happening. So I don't have no idea what it would have been for me the first time around. But this time I don't know, it just didn't strike me right this time. Except for just, the couple of things about it that I heard that really stuck out to me, but I'm also sleep deprived, so who knows? Who knows if I had an adequate amount of sleep, what I would have noticed and paid attention to.
I like to put it this way: like if this song, see, I'm bat crazy too. If this album wasn't so full of so many classic Kiss songs, this song would have easily been. Yeah, this song would have easily been probably in my top 4 at least.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
Like if we were ever to just do like a only Peter songs, ranking or something, yeah, this would be up there. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Kiss and Tail said Two Timer sounds like they took the Beatles songs "I'm a Loser" and "I'll Be Back" and created Two Timer out of that. I can see that.
Yeah.
Definitely a fun comparison there, yeah. All right, moving right along here, we get into Rock Bottom, which is my number 5. And I gotta say, this acoustic intro is absolutely freaking genius.
Yes.
It's one of my personal favorite parts of any Kiss song ever. You just don't expect this kind of thing from them, especially this early in their career when they were still kind of feeling it out. The audiences were kind of feeling them out. I feel like if I would have been a Kiss fan in 1975 and bought this album having no clue what was going to be on it, and when this would have come on for the first time, I would have been dumbfounded. What? Are you kidding me? This is not what I expected. And then the bass part to this song has always stuck out to me. Yet another of the many examples of Gene actually being a really skilled player. Of course, now we found out it was Ace, but
Hey, but Gene plays it great live though, so you gotta give him that.
Right. But just like you were talking about earlier, I actually just noticed the 12-string acoustic guitar from the intro still playing the rhythm part behind the distorted guitars of the entire song.
Oh, nice.
I had never really picked that out until this particular time, but heard it that time. And then, of course, the ending. This is one of the only songs on this album that doesn't fade out, and it's got a great ending. Another, you don't expect this kind of an ending from Kiss. It was the same on the last album, Hotter Than Hell, with the song that's name is escaping me because I'm a moron. But yeah, it's kind of an unexpected, weird ending, and I love it.
Rock Bottom is also my number 5. I've always thought that the acoustic intro was, to me, it's like it's its own song. This is like a 2-part song, but you didn't expect to hear this on the Kiss album. Like I can almost imagine, like when people first heard this, they probably thought it was like a special guest from somebody from Yes or Rush or one of those, because it kind of has that feel to it. That almost proggy type of stuff that was going on at that time. But yeah, I mean, studio version of the acoustic intro far superior to the live. The live version does not cut it. It doesn't catch it. I wish they would have just done it on acoustic guitars live. I don't know why they didn't, but yeah. So and then as Paul would later go on to say, here's where it gets rough, and then when it kicks in, man, it's just so cool. Unfortunately, it's like on the album version, once it kicks in, yeah, it feels a little, I don't know, weaker than what it does live, but it's still got that punch to it, and it makes you bob your head every time you hear it. So
this is my number 3. I'm not sure if you guys are aware. I believe Matt Porter had tweeted Gene asking him if there was what was the intro called. And Gene responded back saying it was George.
Classic.
So I love George. It's a great intro. Some say that the intro is too long, but I think it's just perfect. I love exactly the length of it. It's just the live version, I feel, is just too short. I would like to hear that intro just a little bit longer in the live, but the studio version is just phenomenal. It's just an all-around perfect song for me. I really can't say anything bad about it. But, it ended up having to be somewhere on there, so on my list, it ended up number 3.
Yeah. Just great production on there. That little solo. So good.
Yep, this was my number 3 as well. I think me and Javier are on the same wavelength here. Yeah, I love the beginning of this song. it's funny just how unlike the rest of the song it is, but the fact that it sits in the middle of the album so well, for it being the middle song of the whole album, it helps keep the energy. And I could imagine the first time anybody ever heard this, like maybe thinking that it was going to be a ballad almost, because it kind of had that slower,
Yeah.
acoustic-y, could have been. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it just kind of picks up out of the blue and unexpectedly. And I love that. That is so cool how they did that. And then just the rest of it musically too is just all around from beginning to end. And then of course Paul with the awesome vocals in it. It just helps make it a favorite. So I was like, yeah, that's going to be in the top this time. I don't know what I would have ranked it last time, but this time it was in the top for sure.
Yes. All right, now into the second side. Now I assume, right? That would be.
Yep.
Opening with "Come On and Love Me." This is my number 3, and the groove of this song is amazing. It's one of those unexpected dancers, you know what I mean? Which is unintentional homage to the lyrics, I guess. But yeah, this one really gets you going. Similarly to what Javier was saying with Getaway, I love how prominent Gene's vocals become during the pre-chorus of this song. It's a Paul song, and it's a classic Paul song, but Gene just cuts right through on that pre-chorus. And it's things like that that really start to feel missing in the later 70s and 80s albums. Much as I love the 80s stuff, this kind of thing, it helps make these earlier albums feel like a full band effort rather than 4 solo artists desperately fighting for space.
Yeah.
Because they were still hungry.
Right.
Come On and Love Me is number 2. Again, add this to the list of those feel-good, upbeat Kiss songs that I love, put you in a good mood. I agree. I love that pre-chorus, and because of that, I've always considered this one of those Gene and Paul trade-off songs only because of that, because it's like so, it's just as signature as the rest of the song, I guess. But yeah, I mean, just a classic, man. This is a song that it should have been in every set list, every show, every tour. They should never take it out. If Rock and Roll Night's in there every show, this is one of them that should have been in there too.
Yep.
Such a catchy song, and again, the lyrics. I mean, some really, she's a Capricorn, or I'm a Capricorn, she's a Cancer, blah blah blah. Saw my picture in the music magazine. Yeah, there you go. So it's like, is she a stalker? Is it, someone following him from show to show? What's going on there?
This is my number 1. The best song on the album by far. If somebody was to come up to me and say, what song represents Kiss, this would be the song I would give them to listen to.
Absolutely.
All the way around. This defines Kiss to me. Has everything that they represent in my eyes. It sounds like it was probably more thought was put into this song, I feel, than any other song on this album. If they were to sing this every night at every show, like you were saying, Eli, I would have no problem with it. Yeah. Take Love Down. I'm sick of that song.
Yeah.
This is just one song. I mean, don't get me wrong, Love a Gun's a good song.
Yeah.
But this song, I don't think I could ever get tired of.
No. Not at all.
This was number 5 for me. It's just like a really good old-fashioned rock song, just from start to finish, the whole thing. It just keeps your head bobbing, it keeps your feet moving. When they sing the line "Come On and Love Me," I just love how the music will stop right before it, and then they just kind of slide into it when they sing it. And that is so cool how they were able to just kind of, it just makes you want to, when you sing it, you just kind of slide into it when you sing it. It's so much fun. I love singing along to this song.
Kiss and Tell says, what about George being the lead into She on Double Platinum? Yeah, that was kind of a weird, choice why they did that, but never understood that one.
Yeah, I'll admit when we listened to Double Platinum for the 4K last time, that actually kind of made me mad. Like I knew it was there, but still, when it started, I was like, nope, this doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. All right, going now into Anything for My Baby. This is my number 9. It occurred to me while listening to this one this time, I would have loved to have heard this one on MTV Unplugged. I'm a little mad they didn't do this. This one would have translate to acoustic so well.
That is true.
I want to hear that now. Also, In the Morning I Raise My Head. Really, Paul? Sounds a little familiar. And as has become per usual for this album, more song, please.
Let's see. Anything for My Baby is number 10 this time. So I do remember talking about this the first time around last time, but you got to mention it again that troll Rock and Roll All Night intro. It's like, what? It's practically the same thing, just a different time. But yeah, it's a good song. I like the little hook that, but and then I'm in love, but it feels so good. And then right when Peter hits the cymbal, because I just feel like the song takes off like a speeding car out. I've just always get that vision when I hear it. And I don't know. It's just, I think another reason it's number 10 is kind of the lyrics. It's kind of like, I would steal anything from my baby, blah, blah, blah. It's like, really? Like, no.
This is my number 6. I love how Peter does his drum rolls during the chorus.
Yes.
And this to me sounds like it could have been an oldie song. Yeah. During that time when this was released, the 50s and all that wasn't really that far from that time, and
right.
That type of music, was still played quite a bit during that era, and it sounds like it could have definitely been a 50s song to me.
Yeah.
And I think the lyrics are great on it, it just like I said, totally retro sounding for 50s for me. And I grew up listening to a lot of that, so it's kind of why I like Then She Kissed Me, and I just that stuff was still played quite a bit during that time. So when I first heard it back then, it didn't bother me. I liked it, and that's why I like that stuff. I mean, I like the songs that people don't really care for. Like I said, Then She Kissed Me for one. And the one off of Alive 2. Love that song as well. Can't remember the name right now, but
anyway, you want. Yeah, I think that's a big reason why I like those songs too, and always have, because I grew up hearing oldies and stuff all the time. My mom would kind of be playing more of the oldies and whatever was current, and then my dad would be the one playing the Beatles and Kiss and Heart, rock and all that. I always kind of wonder like what it would have been like to be a musician back then in the 70s, because I think about that like when us musicians try to think, oh, let's do a cover song, and generally we immediately go to like the 70s to try to pick something out. Well, back then, like kind of like what you were saying, they pretty much would go to like the 50s was kind of the starting point of where they would choose songs, and that's why they would ended up doing stuff like Then She Kissed Me and Any Way You Want It and yada yada. So Kissing Time, and so it's just kind of weird to if you really stop and think about it like that, like they didn't have a lot to choose from back in them days to cover.
This was my number 10 as well. the song, I haven't ever really liked this song that much. And it's what the drums do during the chorus that throws it off for me. I don't like those rolls. I don't think it fits. I feel like they're doing the complete opposite of what they should be doing. So it kind of just throws it off for me. It's hard to focus, and it's hard to it just throws off the vibe for a song for me personally. I've never really liked this song that much because of that. I just, uh, when it was playing, I haven't listened to it for a while, and so when it was playing, I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember this song now." And why I don't listen to it very often is just because of that. I just kind of, I don't know, it just throws it off for me a little bit.
All right, so moving into the absolute Kiss classic, She. This is my number one. The verses of this song are up there with my favorite Kiss vocal parts of all time. Lots of favorite of all time stuff going on this album. And like several songs from Hotter Than Hell, this song is just super heavy. It's, way before stuff was heavy. And then add on to that the fact that you get into that middle break with the bass solo and the drums, then it's groove, just groove to the max. And the fact that they were able to marry those things so flawlessly, this song is always going to be up there for me as one of the greatest Kiss songs ever.
Dis TRQ, that awkward silence. Yeah, the sound of silence.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anyway, she comes in at number 6 for me this time. No doubt about that. Yeah, it's a great classic song. Yes, it's heavy. I think what it is the studio version just lacks a little something for me that the live has. And I'm not going to get into too much of what I like about the live version, since the live is next week. So I'll just wait and get into that more then when we get to that. But yeah, it kind of comes down again to where it's like a tad bit slower, and it's a great listen, but I just kind of want to hear that more upbeat version, and where there's more to it. But again, that Gene and Paul harmony on the vocals, it's great. Everything about it. So just another absolute staple classic Kiss song.
This is my number 2, and I have to go the total opposite way from you, Eli. I think it being played any faster takes away from it for me.
Really?
That slow groove is what makes this song for me. And it's like you were saying, it's heavy. I mean, that takes away from the heaviness playing it any faster. And the solo is magnificent, and it's kind of like I look at it kind of like Their Witchy Woman. That's how I look at it as, because you don't really have a lot of songs where they kind of are like that, as far as having the woman be kind of mysterious and whatnot, and to me, I've always looked at it as Their Witchy Woman.
Yeah.
In a weird way, it could almost kind of be like the cousin of Black Diamond too, to an extent.
Yeah.
For that reason, yeah, I can see that.
This was my number 2 as well. And yeah, I mean, this is just one of the better songs. Heavy, it's driving, and just the overall groove to this song is just great. I mean, it has this awesome drive to it, and the riffs are the best part of the whole song. In this song, you don't want to sing with the words; you want to hum like with the music. You want to like it's kind of like Bohemian Rhapsody in that way, where you sing not only the words but you sing the music as well. And then that driving bass line that's behind that solo, I mean, it helps make this one memorable for sure. So yeah, number 2 for me.
Nice.
Kiss and Tell says, love Ace taking the riff from Spanish Caravan and putting it into She. Actually, that was 5-1. 5-1 from the Doors is what I believe you're thinking of, Chris, not Spanish Caravan. And then that also came, I believe there was another song that used that too. I forget now. Oh, Pearl Jam used it later in that song Alive. They took that same riff.
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember the Wicked Lester version of this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The harmonicas, and it was very kind of trippy, hippie-ish sounding, the way they sang it and everything.
Very weird.
I like that version too. Yeah, it's not heavy, but I like it. And, like I said, back when we did Wicked Lester, I like a lot of that stuff. I know getting off track a little bit, but some people just completely hate it. I love it. I still wish it would get a more official type of release and whatever, but
yep, modern remaster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so second to last song on this album, Love Her All I Can. This is my number 2. This one really got me this time. This is not one I rated super high last time, I think, but this is the epitome of a classic Kiss riff. The early 3 albums, man, just right spot on with this one. And the vocal harmony, again on the verse, they were just killing it on harmony vocals at this point. All these songs, not only do they sound absolutely amazing, but it's so present in so many of these songs. It's good. Also, another really standout Ace solo in this song. It's got all the classic Ace licks and just perfectly executed back when Ace was really bringing it.
Yep.
Love Her All I Can is number 3 for me. Speaking of another song that came right from the Wicked Lester sessions, I love the way Kiss rewrote it and made it their own. And, to its own extent, it's a bit heavy too. I love that riff. If the guitars had a little more distortion, it would be an even heavier song. And it's just such a catchy riff. And again, another song with the harmony, vocals. I love the part. I just love how they took and did the harmony vocals, and then it goes off and Paul takes it by himself for the chorus. Great part. Of course, on the Wicked Lester version, it was a lot different. I believe it had flutes and stuff in it or whatever. But yeah, so this is one of them Kiss songs that I feel like gets kind of pushed under the rug and doesn't get as much attention. I feel like this is a staple Kiss song. It to me also captures that rawness and that, the hunger that they had at the time. It shows their talent to be able to go in and rewrite a song pretty much from scratch and actually make an improvement on it. And it's just one of those I always loved. And, love the little solo thing that ends the song. It has that proper ending and just kind of rings out. Just an all around great song. Love it.
This is my number 4. I'm pretty much gonna say the same things that both of you guys said. A great riff. Peter's killing it again. It's Ace's best performance, and by far, and just a great song all the way around. If I'm not mistaken, I would have to hear it again, but isn't this intro kind of the same intro as Rock and Roll Over or Rock and Roll All Night? I could be wrong.
No, that's Anything for My Baby. The doom doom doom.
I knew that there was a song on here. Like I said, I kind of jotted everything down real quick. But I knew there was another song on this album that had the same intro. But yeah, I mean, it's just, another song about a woman. There's practically every damn song on here is about a woman.
Yeah.
It's just a fantastic song. Love it all the way around.
I forgot to mention too, Cowbell.
Oh yeah, more Cowbell.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this was 2, 3, and 4 for you guys, and it's number 1 for me.
Nice.
It just is another one of those types of songs that just from beginning to end, it just rocks all the way through it. It's an amazing rock song. It's hard to pinpoint one or two things, to say about it because everything about it is great. The vocals are amazing, the solos are amazing, the drum fills are fantastic, and then that driving bass. I mean, I love that you're able to hear, like, because a lot of bands and stuff back in this day, around this time, you had to know how to play your instrument. You couldn't just screw around and just kind of throw, just like a whatever on there. Like, you had to know how to play it for it to be good and be acceptable. And I mean, you can hear that in all of these songs. Like, I love it when they do these albums that everything meshes well together, but you can also pinpoint everything separately. There's not, if you want to hear the bass, you can hear it. If you're looking to listen to it, you can pinpoint where it's at versus, well, I can't really hear the bass, but I can hear everything else. Or I can't really hear what they're doing on the ride cymbal, but I can hear everything else. You know what I mean? Like, you can hear everything clearly, and it's just, this song just goes to prove, like, how great of musicians they all are.
Yeah, and it's still just amazing that here we are, 45 years later, and just
Yeah.
how freaking great and crisp it sounds. I mean,
Yes.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yes. All right. And to close out this album, the quintessential Kiss song, as many fans will tell you, Rock and Roll All Night. This is the song that, even if you're not a Kiss fan, you've freaking heard this song. Probably more than once. Probably more than 10 times.
Yep.
Yes. This is my number 10. We did a lot of discussion of this last time we did the 4K. I've got no problem with this song. It's last because we had to assign numbers. I've said it a million times. I usually hate live versions of songs. I almost always prefer the studio versions. I really want to like this version of the song. It has that nostalgia to it. Immediate imagery for Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. But put a freaking guitar solo in it and give it a proper ending. Like the live version has. I prefer the Alive version or even the Alive 3 version over this only for that. If this version had a guitar solo and the live ending, this would probably be my number 1 or at least in the top 5.
Yeah, I feel like the only reason they didn't was just because they were looking for that radio hit, and it was, that's all they wanted back then was that verse, chorus, hook. But you know what? Last time we did this, I feel like I lied to myself and sold myself short. So this time I wanted to be straight up, and it probably wasn't hard to figure out by now, but this is my number 1. I don't really want to get into why, because I feel like I've said it 1,000 times on this show as we've gotten into the song about all the reasons I like this version and what it reminds me of and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record. But yeah, it just has so many special memories every single time I listen to it, including today. It's always like a fresh feeling, no matter how many times I've heard it. It gives me a little bit of goosebumps no matter what. It's just, and not to mention one the promo films that they filmed for this and Come On and Love Me, and I'm forgetting the other one now. But anyway, those are classic too, just that visual, and so yeah, it's just, when it comes down to it, I can't lie to myself anymore, and this is just a great song. No, it's not my favorite Kiss song, but it's one of the most important Kiss songs to me, at least in my life. So,
like Luke, this is my number 10. Unlike Luke, I am sick and tired of the live version of this song. That's all you ever hear is the live version.
Yeah.
Never hear this version. And I like this version better. I do wish that it had a solo in it, but as far as hearing the studio track as opposed to the live track, I would rather hear this version anytime. That song has been beat to death, and I'm done with it. Really, give me the studio version anytime. But like you were saying, this is their most popular song. I get it, I understand, but you know, there comes a time when enough is enough of the live version, and I've had my fill of it.
Yeah. That's my gripe too. I mean, again, love the live version, nothing against it, but especially the radio stations around here, and not that I listen to the radio stations that much, but that's all you hear them play is the live version of this. I can turn on the radio if I'm in the shower, and if it's a Kiss song, it ends up being that. And it's I never understood, why don't you play the studio version? You're not playing the live version of Stairway to Heaven or yada yada yada. You're playing the studio tracks. So what is it about that?
It's kind of like I want you to want me.
Yeah.
But I understand why they play the live version, because that studio version sucks.
Yeah, just like those Frampton songs.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard the studio version of that, but it is terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Just like those Frampton songs. I mean, the studio versions suck, but to me, it's not the same case with Kiss. To me, both versions are just as powerful in their own rights. So why not? Every other Kiss song that they might play from now here and there, because they might do like a 4 spot, where they play 4 in a row. So they'll actually play different Kiss songs, and they're always the studio tracks. But it's Rock and Roll All Night's always the one that's always the live one.
Yep.
So I'm with you. I mean, I love it, but yeah, I want to hear something else. And just to throw in the other 2 cents, I'm sick and tired of the won't get fooled again thing in the middle of Lick It Up that they do live. That's another thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I Still Love You, those vocal gymnastics just kill me. Cannot stand it. Hate it. I just want to smash the TV every time I watch Unplugged, because it ruins the song for me. Just completely ruins it.
Kiss and Tail said Kiss are great musicians. Surely you can't be serious. Insert Leslie Nielsen quote. Yes. He also said, I think the live version charted higher than Dress to Kill version, which, I believe you're right, because the live version is the one that kind of, really set them off, I guess, and, got the success that they were looking for. So, I believe, because, they reissued the single where it's the live on one side, studio on the other side. And so,
Rock and Roll All Night is number 7 for me. Usually it makes it to my bottom just because, like everybody else, I'm just tired of hearing it. It just gets old.
Excuse me, everybody else.
Yeah. It's just, this is the famed Kiss song that everybody knows. If you aren't familiar with Kiss, then you are familiar with this song. Everybody knows. Like, there was a guy that I used to work with, and I was talking to somebody else beside me about Kiss, and he didn't know who I was talking about, but all I had to say was Rock and Roll All Night, and he knew exactly who I was talking about then. Like, it's a great song to sing along with, and I mean, I see why people love it. I understand why it's become an anthem for Kiss, because it is an anthem, the one that everybody always wants to hear because everyone's on the same page about the message of it and stuff. But it's a great song, but like when you compare it to everything else they have done, it falls short, because there's so much more talent in this band that is not in this song. It's not the shining example of how talented they all are, versus like the last song and even Come On and Love Me and Rock Bottom, off this album were just so much better, I feel. So yeah, I mean, this one was just, I mean, I like this song, but it just, after hearing it, because like we said before, like what you guys are saying, whenever you hear it on the radio, it's always this song. They don't ever play any of the other famous Kiss songs. It's always this one that you hear like most over anything else. And it just, after a while, it starts to lose its flavor. So, yeah, I kind of am on the same page. I'm just kind of tired of it, you know?
Yeah, I can't agree that it is kind of unfortunate that the better, like, written songs and performed songs like, She and yada yada didn't get that kind of attention because, again, they were just looking for that hit. And,
Right.
and it's very, catchy, A-B, sing along, but that's what worked and that's what they wanted at the time.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
thankfully all of us fans that really are into them can appreciate all those other songs as well. And
Yep.
the true musicianship, like, because again, we've said before, like, there's people that don't like Kiss, but they know Rock and Roll All Night. They immediately get this idea that that's all Kiss is about. They can't, they're not good musicians, but again, give it a chance. If you listen to some of them other songs, I mean, these first 3 albums by itself, there's, just a handful of songs at least that are like, here, listen to this. Now tell me they're not good musicians.
Yep. And they're not the only ones that have ever been, victims of that, where, they have that one song that everybody knows, but, people think, well, that's all they are. Like, they're just this meh kind of thing. And it's like, there's so much more to this band than you will ever understand.
Yeah.
Def Leppard was the same way. You look at Pour Some Sugar on Me, that's the one song everybody knows, but it is not even close to the talent that is in that band. Like, not even close.
It made me sick when I went to the show when Def Leppard played with Kiss and watching those people, how they were all just dancing and singing to all the songs they knew and the hits, but then they would throw in something that might have been a little obscure or maybe new. And they're just standing around talking, not paying attention. It's kind of like, really?
Yeah.
Like, are you that much of a sheep? Brainwashed sheep?
Right. Yes.
Kiss and Tell says, "Shout It Out Loud is to Rock and Roll All Night like Somebody to Love is to Bohemian Rhapsody, which is trying to recapture that magic but didn't quite make it." Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. But, I put Shout It Out Loud right there with Rock and Roll All Night as, right there, one and the same, anthem. This is what we're about, that type of thing.
I kind of liked it when they didn't have to try to write an anthem for every album. Like Rock and Roll Over, there's really no anthem on there.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Love Gun, Tomorrow Tonight, there's your anthem.
Yep.
Nothing on Dynasty, nothing on Unmasked, really not anything until Creatures.
Yeah, true.
Right.
Yeah, I also miss when, they would just put out albums and this is what it is. We're Kiss, like it or not, instead of everything, at whatever point in whatever year when it became, oh, this album's the next Destroyer, this, blah, blah, blah. Got so tired of hearing that crap too. And then it's like, I don't want the next Destroyer. I love Destroyer, but I don't want the next Destroyer. I want the next classic. I don't want it to sound like a past album. That album is classic for what it is, and I love it for what it is. I want another album to be like, that's a classic too. This is great.
Yeah.
And with the beginning with Psycho Circus, that was the beginning of them becoming a corporate band.
Yeah.
Instead of being a band, because now they're just making songs to appease the masses. They're not writing it for themselves anymore. And it all started with Psycho Circus. Granted, there's a couple of songs on there that kind of feel genuine, but there's I Pledge Allegiance, and just come on.
Well, We Are One. I mean, I was drinking the Kool-Aid, a whole gallon of Kool-Aid, believing that they were all one for all, and especially with that song.
And then the last two albums, of course, that that's just corporate right there, complete. That's not a band. That's just a corporate band.
Well, it's like I was just listening to an interview with Peter like a day or two ago about kind of the reunion and blah 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 era, and he said it perfectly. He said back in those days we were a band, not a brand, and that's what happened. Because once they started treating him and Ace as just employees and not part of the core of the band like it was at the beginning, and all that stuff, and Ace finally telling him that he was making more than he was and all that stuff. And
to release 3 albums in 20 some years, I mean, come on, 24 years, only 3 albums. I mean, if they were really a band, that would not have happened. No. I would, as much as I love the reunion was the demise of the band. It was. Everything just fell apart for me. I mean, I love seeing them all together for one, but during that time, think of how many albums that could have been released.
Yeah.
They were on track during the 80s every year, up until Crazy Nights when they waited for that producer.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were pumping them out, 70s and 80s every year. We got robbed out of a lot of albums.
We did.
Yeah.
I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at Kiss and Tail's comment. He said he's going to take a knee during "I Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll."
There you go.
Yes.
But I mean, during that '80s period too, they basically weren't a band either, because you had Gene kind of on the sort of not all there with it, and it felt like Paul had his was keeping the head above the water for the band, and kind of taking the load for everything, and you could still
Paul took a lot of loads, I'm sure.
Oh. Yes.
And I mean, you can still tell to this day at times, certain interviews that Paul still holds a little resentment about that. You could tell, it really pissed him off, and he probably felt abandoned. Kiss and Tail, I saw a big difference in the energy and chemistry of the band from Reunion to Psycho. Yeah, big time. Yeah, Reunion, it kind of felt like the way they were promoting it, like they were back on board and the magic's back and all that. But yeah, Psycho Circus, it was like all of a sudden it was back to that, that crap. But even with the Reunion, come to find out, like Peter was saying, like he nearly quit before the end of the tour because the way things were going, and finding out about the money and everything. Why are you looking up at me?
No, I thought I saw something on the wall.
Brady Bunch or something here. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Yes. There you go. I could definitely tell a difference in energy at the very least, because they were excited in the reunion, but Psycho, it was back. But I don't know about chemistry. If I'm being honest, the footage I've seen of the reunion tour, it doesn't seem like chemistry to me. It seems more like 2 accomplished players and 2 guys that are along for the ride, who come out literally had to be retaught their own parts because they couldn't freaking play them anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give them a little credit.
How the Great Fall.
Yeah. I'll give them a little credit. I feel like as the tour went on, it got tighter. But you watch that first show, like Tiger Stadium and all that. That's a train wreck. But what? Part of me kind of likes that, because it kind of makes you feel like they're a band again, because it was almost like those early days all over again. Like they're not playing perfectly, and some of the timing's a bit off, and it kind of gave you that little feel once again. But and at least like from random shows I've watched or watching that Second Coming, it seemed like as the tour went on, they did tend to get a little tighter. But then all that other crap just started getting in the way, and I could just imagine to be one of the founding members, and that grew up with all those hardships of the band in the beginning, and then to just be treated like an employee after all that, and no matter what, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, and Peter and Ace selling their rights to their makeup, just, sometimes I wonder, sometimes I wonder if Gene and Paul knew that it would only be a matter of time before Peter and Ace would screw up. And I don't know, sometimes it feels like maybe they kind of was like, let's try to get their makeup from them and put somebody else in it,
Mm.
because they both knew that they needed money. And I'm sure what they offered them for their makeup isn't anything compared to what they're making off of it now.
True.
So I bet they were, I don't know. Sometimes I just kind of wonder about that. Like, hey, let's get this reunion going. Let's get their makeup from them, get them out of here, and then we'll put somebody else in and finish our career like that.
Well, you're right. It's like Ace and Peter definitely needed the money, and Kiss themselves were not doing great at that point either.
Mm-hmm.
And once Unplugged happened, it's like they like to say, like the cartoons, you see that dollar sign flapping in Gene and Paul's eyes. They knew that it would be a big, seller, and everyone wanted it. So they figured, oh, okay, let's give it a shot. And of course, it didn't take long for them to start having their doubts because, what was it? Ace showed up late I think he even showed up late for rehearsal for Unplugged. And then, he was missing flights and, just pulling a lot of that stuff again. And according to what Peter was saying too, like Gene pretty much straight up told him at one point, like, if they, this crap keeps up, we'll pull the plug on the tour right now, and we'll just go back to what we were doing, because they kind of had Carnival as kind of like that cushion, as, oh, if this does fall through, we can just fall right back to that and then continue what we were doing without the makeup. And then they just kind of, maybe a little bit of that was talked, because obviously they just kept on going, even when maybe it would have been the best thing for it to end sooner than it did. They just kept on going for the sake of the money and everything else. But I don't know. It just sucks. I never understand why these bands that, thankfully these original members that are still around, and then they just want to bicker and argue instead of just, being a band and playing the music and everything like it, I just don't understand it. And then as soon as one of them pass away, then they get all sorry and, oh, I miss him and blah, blah, blah. He was my brother. And it's like, well, why didn't you act like that when he was alive then, dumbass?
Exactly. I mean, look how they treated Eric, I
know.
That tribute card jam, what kind of tribute is that? That's a kick in the balls, if you ask me.
You don't like it?
Yeah. I don't. I think that they should have put one of Eric's songs on there.
That would have been good.
Instead of just a jam. I mean, come on, what's that? And then, I'm sure that they replaced Ace's parts because they didn't want to give him any money out of that. So they just had Bruce overdub the parts, But a real tribute would have been one of Eric's songs on there with him singing lead. I mean, there was plenty of songs that they could have chose from.
Oh yeah. Someone had made a video about that recently. Actually, I forget the song that they named of his, but they were saying that would have been a great fit. And I mean, I agree, but at the same time, I'm one of those people that love Car Jam. I mean, because it shows what Eric was good at. I mean, not that he wasn't a good singer and all that. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a great, like, from the first time I ever heard that, it was just like my jaw was open, like, wow, and it's still cool to listen to. I mean, yeah, it would have been cool had they have maybe thrown one of his songs on there, but But for that matter, why didn't they let him sing more songs when he was alive?
Yeah.
He only had one freaking song on an album. I'm not even counting that Beth crap, because to me that's just a whole different thing. So I don't know. I mean, I totally get what you're saying, but it's like they should have. I'm sure he had a lot of them songs too when he was still alive and in the band. So why didn't they give him some stuff on the albums? Yeah. Why did he sing Young and Wasted live, but yet not on the album?
Yeah.
Kiss and Tell, I believe Gene and Paul had the scheme for a long time, but gotta blame Peter and Ace for being naive and letting vices control them. I believe the band Paul and Gene wanted all along was Eric Singer and Ace, but Ace is a wild card and he quit again. Ace is unreliable, but to me, he is what gave the unique sound to Kiss. Yeah. At this point, he's sober and all that, but obviously the ship has sailed. It's not going to happen again. Yeah, the band, at this point, this time next year, the band would pretty much be done, but because of all this crap going on, it's probably going to get extended out another couple of years, but it's just, and I'm not going to lie, I liked the Eric Singer and Ace lineup. I thought they meshed very well on stage. Eric brought that energy and stuff back to the drum parts that unfortunately Peter was kind of lacking, and I thought they were a great mesh, and I wouldn't have been mad if they would have kept that either, but that's another thing is the whole makeup thing. Peter and Ace like to complain about those guys being in there, but when it was one or the other still on stage and another guy wasn't, they didn't have a problem then. That's it's just one of them things.
Yeah. I don't think Eric Singer would get much crap. I mean, he doesn't get as much as Tommy does.
Yeah, I don't feel like he does.
But I think that one thing that could have just maybe have made some fans feel a little bit better with him being in the makeup is if he would have kept his blonde hair.
Yeah.
I mean, he's wearing the makeup, but yet he's his own individual with that blonde hair, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, as weird as it might sound, when he first joined the band.
Like Peters, and
yeah,
let him keep his blonde hair.
Yeah, because, as weird as it might sound, but at least to me, and I don't know about other people, but when he first joined the band, it was like, whoa, they got a blonde dude in the band, because every member's had the black hair and, dark hair. And, that was unique in itself, even though they weren't in makeup. It was just, to me, it had that kind of feeling and impact that it made him stand out and unique, let alone, his playing and everything. Because, I didn't know a thing about who he was and what other bands he played in before Kiss. That was the first time I ever heard his name back then. I mean, I was probably 10, 11 years old when that album came out. So, I didn't know all that history about Eric Singer. So, but yeah, like my biggest gripe about Eric's stuff was when they had him wearing, that fox costume, but then still the cat makeup. That right there was a very, like, what are you doing? Like, why? I'm sorry, but it just makes no sense. I mean,
yeah, it would have been weird for him to switch makeups at that point, but in that case, the resolution should have been we shouldn't go back to the Creatures outfits.
Right. And, I give Eric enough credit because, one, he does his cat makeup different than what Peter did. So I feel like there's that little bit of difference. Like, yeah, it's essentially the same character, but he's not like, spot on doing it the way Peter did it. He's kind of added his own flavor to the makeup as far as his design and all that. But, and, he's not up there, trying to sing like Peter or play like Peter. He's still does everything like Eric Singer, but he just happens to be that character. So, the whole thing about they should have came up with their own characters for those guys. Okay, but then what? would it have lasted? Would it have been as memorable? There's people out there, believe it or not, that don't even know who the Fox and Vinnie Vincent Hunk Warrior. Believe me, because Luke and I wore that makeup, and there'd be people that thought I was Peter, and I'm like, no, I'm the Fox. I'm, stuff like that. It's like, so I don't know.
There were literally sometimes.
I just wish after the reunion they would have, after the farewell tour, take off all the makeup and become a 6-man band.
Yeah.
For me, that's what I would have wanted. And, Peter can play as crappy as he wants to because he has Eric there to help him out.
There you go.
What was you saying, Luke?
Oh, I was just going to expound on the, literally sometimes when we'd walk into buildings to play shows, our Gene would walk in and the crowd would go nuts. Our Paul would walk in and the crowd would go nuts. You would walk in and it would suddenly pull back, and then I would walk in and it would just stop entirely. Yeah. And it was like, all right, I guess we're going to see how this is going to go then. Yeah, people were like, "Oh my God, Gene Simmons! Oh my God, Paul Stanley! Wait, who's that guy? Wait, who's that guy?"
And then I don't know how many times someone would be like, "Where's your boots?" I'm like, "Dude, they do not play drums in boots. Trust me." I don't know how many times I've heard that. I believe somehow in some way there will be an original reunion. Too much money to be made. It may only be 20 shows or one show, but it's going to happen. You really think, Chris? I don't know, man. I don't know when and how it could happen at this point. Like, I just don't know, man. Still left on the agenda is a Kiss biopic, Kiss reality TV show to find the members for Kiss 2.0.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently they're, working on that documentary that we had heard about. And then I did hear some rumblings about an actual movie being made. But as far as this Kiss 2.0 thing, I don't know. I don't even want to think about that right now.
Yeah. I kind of feel like they've abandoned that idea, which is probably for the best.
Because I don't care how much Paul wants to try to sell that. It's not going to be the same. It ain't, anybody could do what I do, and Gene, and no, there's more. It's not, and again, respect to Eric and Tommy, it's not the same with Gene and Paul as just putting different guys in that makeup and costume. There's a big ocean of differences that both of them have that other people are never going to be able to replicate. I mean, that's like, throwing some random drummer behind the drum kit with Rush and putting that hat that Neil Peart wore, and it's the same. No, trust me, he was like, he had so many unique things that no one can ever replicate that.
No, Kiss and Tell, I do not. No, I have a black version of essentially that. It was the Randy Rhoads model Jackson. I just played a black one instead of a pink one. I wanted to get a gold one, but I couldn't find one anywhere that wasn't thousands of dollars.
He does have the pink Vinnie Vincent panties, though.
Yeah, of course. Yes. Had to wear those on stage every time. Gave me that look.
Speaking of
thong
Vinnie,
style.
Huh?
Yes.
I said thong style.
Speaking of Vinnie, it was his birthday a day or two ago. Not to mention, so happy birthday, Vinny. Apparently he's planning another, whatever you want to call it, in Nashville, like a get-together or whatever it is. Don't know. Well, let's get back on track here. I know we that was fun, but I guess we do have a little bit of business to finish up here.
That is for sure. So overall ranking for Dress to Kill.
Mm-hmm.
That is the album we're doing, right? I forget.
Sure.
What are we on now? Rock and Roll Over? I don't know.
The band Kiss, by the
way. Right, yes.
Oh, Chris just bought a Dean Icon X last night, he says.
Oh, nice. That'll be sweet.
Yeah.
I went with 7.5 for overall ranks. After the production disaster of Hotter Than Hell, no one can really blame Neil Bogart for just stepping in and doing it himself. And geez, did he come through?
Yeah.
I'm honestly disappointed they didn't use him more throughout the years. Honestly, I wish the first two albums sounded like this one too. There's nothing wrong with the way the first album sounds, but I'd be really curious to hear it with this level of clarity and, of course, Hotter Than Hell. As for this album, there are a ton of classic Kiss moments all over the place and not a bad song at all anywhere. The one complaint I have is something they can't even really be blamed for, and it's that most of the songs feel a little unfinished. So many of these are short little snippets with a ton of repeated parts and then end it with a fade out. I talked last week about how one of Hotter Than Hell's strong points for me was how well Kiss performed writing and recording songs without much or sometimes any time to really refine them. And this album is similar in that, like, the songs here are really good, but it feels like several of them they could have been even better had the guys actually had time to sit and write them and play them and work them out before recording them. Again, they were pulled from a tour without any forward notice to do a whole nother album's worth of songs when they didn't really have much prepared. Thus, She and Love Her All I Can coming from Wicked Lester. Would we have even gotten those songs if not for this? It's hard to tell. But, you can't blame them really for kind of starting to run out of steam as far as inspiration and really hard worked out songs. Having said all that, though, this is still one of my go-to Kiss albums, even if just for one of the clearest productions of the original lineup in its absolute prime.
Right on, man. I gave it an 8, and 100% agree. Production-wise, probably the best-sounding Kiss album in the whole catalog to me. And then it's kind of unheard of, at least. Here we are, third album in, and they're still using material from the Wicked Lester days, and not that that's bad, because obviously they did nothing but improve those songs, but it also at the same time kind of makes you wonder, okay, was it either because they were in that rush to write, or were they having a little bit of a writer's block already? Unfortunately that sometimes hits bands early on, and then thankfully they get over it. And that's why they chose to pull out a couple more of those songs to round it out to the 10. Who knows? But whatever the reason, I'm glad it happened, because again, those are like two of the greatest Kiss songs in history and the whole catalog. But yeah, it's like I said, the whole line of albums, this is one in many that I love the entire thing. No songs that I skip. With it being such a short album, it goes by so freaking quick. It's like every time I listen to the album, I'm like, oh, I feel like I only listened to one side already or something. It goes so fast. But so many live staples, kind of like what we talked about last week, and even I believe the first album. A lot of these songs are still played today. So some that I wish they would pull out, but time will tell. We do have another cruise next year, so who knows what they plan. But yeah, just an essential classic album. I guess, unfortunately, kind of the last of that original Kiss sound, that grittiness. So it's a hell of a way to to end that run there with these first 3 albums?
I think I'd have to probably give it. I'm debating between an 8.5 and a 9. I'm leaning more towards that 9. I just love this album. It's just my favorite era of the band. The look, my favorite era of costumes. I mean, between that and Hotter Than Hell, those costumes were just magnificent. I just loved them. The short songs, that's just what gets me. And I just wish, one more song. That's all they could have put, even if it was a short song, like the rest. It would have made this album just that much more better for me. I love it, but I can't give it a straight 10. But like I said, 8.5 to 9, I probably have to go with the 9 just because I love it that much.
Yeah, I gave this one a 7. Overall, it's a really solid album from start to finish. It just has a fantastic sound, and I mean you can clearly hear each instrument, and the mix was done. I mean, just the production is great. Um, I really love the vocals on this album. Everything stuck out in its own way, but like I just think there was a lot of strong points for vocals in this album. Um, Everybody was unique in their own way, with the tones and the sounds that they brought personally to the table. And then, I mean, just each different thing sticks out. The driving bass lines, the upbeat and the hard hitting drums. The rhythms were always doing something cool. And then the solos, I mean, they were pounding, they were energetic. But my one complaint about this album that and besides the songs being short, is that most of them faded out, like almost all of them faded out. Like there was very few. There was only 2, I think, that actually had a solid, ending to them, and I prefer that more than I do the fading out. And it consisted mostly of that, and so it was like, because I think it was, I can't remember which one it was now. I was telling Luke, I think it was She, and I told him, I said, I thought that had a solid ending. Like I thought I had heard a solid ending, and Luke was like, well, I play it sometimes, and when I play it I give it a solid ending. And I'm like, okay, well, that's probably what I'm thinking of is when you do it, because I really like the way that that happened. And then when it didn't, I was like, wait, I thought, I'm confused now. So yeah, but I mean, it's just it's a solid album, other than the fact that the songs are a little too short, and I wish there would have been more that wouldn't have faded out. um but yeah, overall, I mean, it was just you know the sound of it, the production is just, it's fantastic, it's great. Yeah.
Did you mention Stephen Rochelle's votes?
I don't
No.
believe so.
Yep. I've got our final rankings here, and I can just go ahead and give everybody else's stuff here.
Okay.
I'm blanking though. Do we do the next section before the final rankings or after?
I believe we did it before.
That's what I was thinking just there too, but my brain it's crapped out my ear, I guess.
All right. Now we're all discombobulated again. All right, it is time for the true confessions. Chris, I hope you got one ready to go in the chat there. All right, let's hear it.
All right, so mine, and after everything I said about this, I don't think it'll come as a huge surprise. My true confession for this album is, I wish that Rock and Roll Over, and honestly even Love Gun, sounded like this album production-wise. Everything is so pristine and clear, and especially on Rock and Roll Over, I've always thought the drums sounded a little bit weird. Not really bad, but I much prefer the production style of this album.
Yeah, a lot of a lot of effects on the drums and stuff throughout Rock and Roll Over, instead of just that straight raw sound like this has. Mine, and again, this is going to feel, I hate to have any kind of like nitpick or something that feels or sounds like it's going to be a bad thing to say, but I always feel like the guitars overall are a bit thin on this album. I wish they had a little more of the distortion to them, and that would have helped out a lot. But and again, it's such a near perfect album, as much as we've said, but that's just one thing I noticed and was especially paying attention to today. It was the guitars have always felt a bit thin, and that's probably one reason they threw the acoustics underneath it as well. But just felt like it needed a little more of that beef to it, kind of like what the first album had, and I would have been more appeased with that. But like I said, I hate to nitpick anything on it, but that would be the thing that I definitely was drawn to.
Mine would be, I wish that Come On and Love Me would have been the hit single off of this. Mm-hmm. And be the song that Kiss is most known for.
Totally.
Man, that would be a weird thought, wouldn't it? Like, to think that Rock and Roll Night is not the one that they're known for. Like, it would be cool, but it's a weird thought to think like that could have been like a possibility, And to think too that, Rock and Roll Night was the last track on this album, and it's like the biggest song that everybody knows.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. Mine was that the beginning instrumental on Rock Bottom is probably, if not my favorite, then at least in my top 5 favorite openings for a Kiss song in their whole discography that they have.
I got a question basically for all you guys. Do you think there's another song that Kiss has that is just as recognizable for them as Rock and Roll All Night, where people would say, "Oh yeah, that song too"?
I think I'd put Detroit Rock City up in that same category.
Yeah.
Because
I would agree.
I think
that, or maybe I Stole Your Love. I think that could have been another song that could have really have been a lot bigger than what it ended up being. I think that's a total radio song all the way.
Yeah, every time I listen to I Stole Your Love, I wasn't even alive in the 70s, but I always get a vibe of like that feels like the 70s when I hear that song, like, what it must have felt like around that time.
I Stole Your Love is out of the second set of 3, that is the song that defines Kiss at that time for me.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Just like Come On and Love Me is the song that defines Kiss out of the first 3.
Because I was wondering that, because I think of like Leonard Skinner, how massive Freebird is, but yet at the same time Sweet Home Alabama is like just as huge. And it's like either song is pretty much represents the band, and you could probably look at a lot of other bands and think of that, but
yeah, I would have said it would either be Detroit or I Love It Loud. Could have been, because that's just such a, that again, that's another kind of anthem-y that everybody knows, everybody sings along with it, you know what I mean? So it's like, it helps get you on your feet,
Yeah, I would personally go with Shout It Out Loud, but
yeah, that too. Yeah, definitely, for sure.
And then second, probably Love Gun, because I feel like that one always gets a pretty good reaction from people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just one of the things I was curious about, because it just makes you wonder. And it's like, okay, what?
I'm curious as to what you guys would think of like a personal favorite of your guys' song, out of all their songs that you would like to have seen be like a big hit like Rock and Roll Night or Detroit Rock City or something like that never really kind of, was a hit for them, but that you wish would have been? Because for me personally, it would be 1,000,000 to 1, because that's my favorite Kiss song of all time, and I think that would have been just it's so full of energy, and it's so just from start to finish. I feel like it's like a perfect song. It may be like one of my favorite songs of all time. Like, and I wish that one was recognized the way that Rock and Roll Night and everything was, because it's so, I don't know. There's just something about it that just it gets me every time. I love it so much.
For me, it'd probably be Nothing to Lose, because to me that was the first Rock and Roll All Night, so to speak. Like, that one to me is an anthem, and like I said, it's such a great feel good song and upbeat.
Yep.
I felt like that one should have been one of those that's just as popular.
Yeah.
For me, as far as a slow song goes, it would have to be "I Still Love You."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that.
I think that could have been a huge hit. Yeah, that's between that and "Still Loving You." I think those are probably the best slow songs that came out of the '80s.
Yeah.
And as far as something a little bit more upbeat, I wish that "Magic Touch" would have been given the shot that it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, as far as like slow songs, I mean, every time I look at you, like, I know they had a video and everything for it, but it never quite got much airplay or attention. But that's a great vocal performance too by Paul.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah.
That's one that I wish they would play live.
Not a fan of that. I don't know what's worse, that or Paul's boy beard in the video.
I think there's so many of those 80s songs. It's really hard to pick because the 80s was special to me first, personally, that before the original lineup was. And so to me, so many of those songs are great. Yeah, they don't have anywhere near the same feel as the early 70s stuff. It's almost arguably not the same band. But I think if I had to narrow it down to one song out of the entire discography, I think I might go with Unholy. And I know it did get kind of big, but that's, to me, maybe the Gene song of the discography.
Yeah.
The production is great. The attitude is great. Bruce's solo is killer. It displays musicianship. There's key changes. There's weird time signatures. There's a lot about that song that breaks people's what they think about Kiss, especially the negative stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like on the Rock the Nation tour, when he would do that after the blood and everything. Oh my God, that was perfect.
Yeah.
And they would go into Unholy, because I always, I used to think that back then, like, oh man, this would be a great makeup song, blah blah blah, and then they actually did it. It's like, I'm sorry, but like, to me that had a bigger punch than doing it in God of Thunder or 100,000 Years. I just felt like that was like one of the best demon songs, and to fit that whole blood and all that stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It definitely matches the tone of that song for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get the rankings figured out and done here. So, in addition to the four of us, we also had votes from Steve McGowan. He gave this album a 5 out of 10, surprisingly low from Steve.
Yeah.
His top 3, Rock Bottom, She, and Come On and Love Me. We've got votes from Rochelle McGowan. She gave this album a 7 out of 10. Her top 3, Ladies in Waiting, Two Timer, and Rock Bottom. We've got votes from my younger brother, Sam. He gave this a 6 out of 10, and his top 3 were Love Her All I Can, Rock Bottom, and She. We are also counting in some votes from last time around, including votes from myself and Eli, my dad, Steve McGowan, Jay Rucker, Jay Rucker's dad, Jay's niece. We've also got Aaron Philpott, Chuck Hoskins, Robbie Stars, Rain in Adamstown, Jacob Hicks, and Gianni. Sorry about that. So, of course, if any of you guys that have already done rankings for this want to give us your updated rankings, by all means, send them in. We will put them in here. I know my dad is going to send us some updated ones. He had to work today and ended up not getting to it. But we have the ranks for everything that we've got right now. This album did end up with a 7.6 average overall out of a possible 10, which is pretty good. The first album got an 8.8 and Hotter Than Hell got 7.5. So this does put this just one titch higher than Hotter Than Hell with the 7.6 there. In 10th place for this week, we got Anything for My Baby. In 9th place, Getaway. In 8th place, Two Timer. In 7th place, somewhat bafflingly, Rock and Roll All Night.
Blasphemy.
Right, you're right. In 6th place, Ladies in Waiting. I demand a recap.
This is like fits like a glove on the last 4K all over again.
Yeah. In 5th place, Room Service. And our top 4 for this week in Dress to Kill. In 4th place, Love Her All I Can. In 3rd place, Rock Bottom. In 2nd place, Come On and Love Me. And in 1st place, She.
All right, I can live with that.
I couldn't believe that when I was tallying that. I saw Rock and Roll All Night
it's
as
subject
number
to
7.
change if we have more people
That's true.
vote.
Yeah, it is subject to change, but at least Love Her All I Can made the top 4.
It did, yeah. Yep, I knew that was coming. I marked that number 7, and I was like, ooh, Eli's going to be mad.
All right. So that wraps it up for Dress to Kill. Well, that was some fun chatting this time. Thanks for stopping in, Javier.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
A lot of good discussion there. Chris from Kiss and Tail, again, go check out their site or their channel. Thanks for stopping in again, man. Good chat from you too. Looking forward to being on the show. So see you soon for that. So next week, wow, a live, right?
Yep.
Already getting into the live stuff again, so this is going to be an interesting episode. So get all your votes and True Confession in for that. It's going to be a deluxe episode like last time because so many songs on it.
Long album, yes.
All right, so we're going to get out of here then. Thanks, everyone, for checking us out, watching. Please, like and subscribe, spread the word, all that stuff. Be sure to join our group on Facebook, Kiss Meets the Podcast group. We also have a separate page as well on there, so please make sure you like it. Spread the word, please. As always, the door's open. As you see, Chris last week, Javier's today. If anyone wants to come on and chat about any of these albums, please let us know. More the merrier. So contact us through YouTube or send us a message there on Facebook. All right, then. We are going to get out of here. So we'll see you all next week for a live. Everyone take care and be safe. Bye.
Bye.